part 2. The main thing that we're going to be looking at for part 2 is starting about what you believe needs to happen from the veterinarian's perspective. So I'm going to try to pull it up. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so we already have the disease that you're researching. We know that. That's just to keep everything in line. Describe what you believe the veterinarian role is in treating or minimizing or educating the public. So what is the veterinarian going to do? So these are things of, are they going to encourage regular vet visits? Are they going to post stuff online? Are they going to be more just responsible for treating the disease and not necessarily educating? Are they going to do other research, right? So those are all types of things that you can put into this describes what their main role is going to be. If you think their main role is going to be prevention, then that's what you're going to focus on. If you think their main role is educating, well, then what is that going to look like? So for that second part, provide a plan for the veterinarians to educate the public. This is the, yes, you're going to use social media, which is awesome, but how often are you going to use social media? What are the posts going to say on social media? What particular social media are you going to be using? Right? So that's the sort of stuff for that piece that we're going to look at. This is really where you start to detail that plan. Like, what are they going to do? Every time a person comes in for a visit, are they going to give them a pamphlet? Are they going to have pamphlets around in their clinic? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. All right. Explain the importance of educating the public. This is what's going to happen if you don't get educated. Like, so what are the consequences if a person doesn't know that they have it, or if the animal isn't, like, if you don't know if your animal has it? This also can tie into what's going to happen, right? So if I had rabies, for example, well, what's the importance of educating my public about rabies? Well, one, it's a deadly disease, right? So if people are not vaccinating their animals and rabies starts to spread, then you can die from it. And what does that mean for our economy? What does that mean for other animals? So there's a kind of the cause and effect, a domino pattern, right? Of this is the whole culminating piece. So that's what you want to really detail in that, why it's important, because your animal's going to get sick, right? Like, that's the bottom line, but provide a little bit more. Why is it important that you know that your animal's going to get sick, right? No one wants their animal to get sick. So why don't you want their animal to get sick?
Right.
Okay. Does that clarify?
Yeah.
Questions?
No.
All right. Provide at least one treatment method. So this is, go back into part 1 research. Some of you guys have treatment options, some of you don't. Some of it is the quarantine is just the treatment, where you have to just let the animal have the disease. It's just going to kind of run its course. You'll give supplemental stuff, but you isolate it. So that is part of treatment. So isolating an animal until they get better is still considered a treatment method. And then describe why is that important, or how effective is it. So this is where that citing a source comes into play for the explain the importance of the treatment. You should be able to find research out there about how effective a rabies vaccine is. Or if you isolate an animal, then how long does it take for them to get better? What are the chances of them infecting other animals? Stuff like that. It's going to be hard to find, but you should be able to. But regardless of if you can find that kind of data to support, it's still, why do you think that particular treatment is going to be the most important? If you're going to quarantine an animal, well, why is that the most important? Well, it's the most important because now they can't spread the disease to anybody, right?
Right.
Okay. And then the last piece, that how veterinarians can assist with the potential to minimize the spread. Think outside of the vet clinic. So include the vet clinic, absolutely, but now go outside of. So some of the diseases, people are researching vaccines because there's not a vaccine yet. So see if you can do any digging and find evidence that they are researching vaccines for certain diseases. Or how might a veterinarian support an organization? Maybe there's an organization out there that sprays for mosquitoes. Well, maybe a veterinarian can put so much of their proceeds into that organization to help fund that project, right? So those are the things that you want to think outside of the clinic. Like, absolutely, you have the clinic information, but then what else outside of the clinic can that veterinarian do, or should they do, if you think at all? Maybe you don't think they should. Maybe it's just in the clinic, and to each his own. If it continues to spread across the world, it doesn't matter. But maybe you think that, no, there's things that they can do outside of the clinic. That's what that piece is in there.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Questions about that?
Not that I have.
Okay.
No.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Does that help then figure out what I'm looking for this piece of it?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to stop recording.